pop culture for me has been a way for me to learn more about other sectors, whether it's politics or health or science, things that like I don't go to automatically or like I find tedious. Or actually I really like history and research, but like I often approach it through the lens of film and TV. And I think that so much of movies and television and pop culture in general is a reflection of society and what is happening. This is where our anxieties play out. Any sort of thriller, whether it's a film noir or a horror movie, we were talking about this earlier at the dinner, it's like so many of the things around race, gender, abortion, they're being talked about in these and worked through in these creative venues. And so I think that pop culture is a great starting point for me, and I think it's a great starting point for a lot of people. Now, a lot of people just take pop culture on its face as face value, and then they don't attempt to actually learn. Like I'm not gonna, say that a movie, I don't know, Green Book, for example, that movie, first of all, like doesn't even really have anything to do with the actual Green Book, the historical guidebook for Black people who were traveling throughout the United States in the 50s and 60s. And I think a lot of people, the problem is a lot of people will take those types of movies and take it as this is all true, or they don't explore more. And I want to encourage people, when you're interacting with pop culture, like go beyond just what the artists are telling you. I think it's a great sort of venue for getting more engaged and interested in other historical things. And so that's kind of why I gravitate towards it. I also think that pop culture does influence us. It influences the way we think about things. If you think about the sort of quote unquote reckoning we've had around policing and propaganda in TV shows like Law and Order, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, there have been studies done that show that actually years of watching these shows has made people believe that policing can be benign and that they're all just there to help and all these other things. And when you're watching those shows, that affects how you think about the people who you see in these on TV. So if you're seeing a lot of Black and brown people playing criminals on these TV shows, then you're going to be less sympathetic when one of them is shot by a cop in real life. You're going to be like, well, why were they resisting? I think you like those sorts of things, and being able to connect that, like what we're consuming as entertainment and for fun, or just as a diversion from the real world. It's actually not a diversion from the real world. And I think like always being conscious of how you engage with pop culture is really important. And that's kind of the thing that I try to encourage in my writing and explain to people, that it's a big deal. I think that we're still making Marilyn Monroe movies where she's just tortured for hours, and it boils down to the fact that she killed herself. Like, let this woman rest in peace. But I think that's an issue, it speaks to a larger issue around how we think about icons, how we think about women, how we think about how we treat those women. And I think you can draw a direct line from, Judy Garland to Marilyn Monroe to Dorothy Dandridge to, Britney Spears. Like there's all of these things that are happening. So I like to think about all those issues through pop culture, because that's the way I come to it.